Morning everybody, welcome to this week's Tillers Turf Talk. Hope you're all keeping really well. So this week we are going to have a little trip down memory lane. I'm going to have a look at one or two old harvesters right through to the modern day harvesters that we use at Tillers every day today. So I'm actually sat on an old Brower at the moment, and it is kind of a wraparound harvester on an old Ford tractor, which we'll have a closer look at in a moment. So the principles haven't changed really too much, but obviously the conditions and the technology has. So this one here would have been operated just with levers and buttons. Communication from the harvest management or the office would be by pieces of paper, I'm sure. The cab, as you can see around me, has no protection whatsoever. So on a cold day, it's a case of wrap up a little bit warmer, put some gloves on, and back then there's probably no power steering either, so that would keep you warm trying to turn the thing around and steer. The only thing it has got is it has got a roof all the way across the top and round to the back. Now that is to protect you from the rain, but also from UV. So these machines are used all over the world. So some countries are going to be very hot, very sunny, and it'll protect the staff from sort of sunburn as well, and just help them keep a little bit cooler in those hot temperatures. So we'll have a little wander around these machines now. There's actually two of them. We've got this one, and we have another one next door, which is mounted on a John Deere. Now the one we're on now is a big roll harvester, and we'll have a look at the more modern big roll harvester shortly. And but in the meantime, we'll just nip around the back of the machine, have a look, and just see how the machines work. Well, as you can see on this one, highly luxurious tractor seat there, and like I said, a very narrow steering wheel, probably no power steering, I'm not 100% sure on that. So I've got all the control levers here, including this one. Now this is a big roll harvester, so we have the tubes in storage here, and the tubes are released by the handle, so this can be a one-man operation. The turf then is things have not really changed much today with the cutting heads. So the turf will be cut and it'll be up the conveyor, and before it gets to the final area here to roll up, the tube will be released by the lever, as we mentioned earlier, and it'll be big rolled onto the area here. Once that roll is ready, it'll then be again from the cab, pressing the button, released, and it will come down the chute there to be deposited outside the tractor, and for a spike or a tractor tine to come and collect and move to the edge of the field for collection. So principally the same, obviously technology isn't. So we're going to have a look at the other one. So again, this one is a Brower. It's mounted on a John Deere tractor, and this is a single row harvester. So principally, as I said earlier, things are very much the same. We still have the guide bar here for the auto steer. This one's even got a cab, so this will at least keep the guy sort of out of the wind. And I'm not saying it'll be, anything like today's cabs. I'm pretty sure there'll be no air conditioning in there, but there is a little additional protection from the elements for him. Also, over the top of this one, like the other one, we have a full canopy, so for UV protection and obviously keeping protection from the rain. Now, the difference between this one, majorly, compared to modern day harvesters, is modern day harvester all self-stacking. This one isn't. So we've got some guys to volunteer to go on the back, and he has to stack it all by hand. So if we just talk you again through the whole system on this machine. So like I've said before, very similar in the cut and the chop off down here. That's not really changed too much. It's up the conveyor, hit the accumulator, roll up, and with this one then the turf is deposited onto a side belt here. So the turf drops off here onto the side belt. This side belt then will feed the turf over here, and somebody will be stood on the back, pick the turf off here and place on the pallet below. So like I say, there's no iPads, there's no computers. Communication is between the guy in the cab there and the guy in the back here, who is going to have a pretty tough day of it. But once I get the rhythm and momentum going, that pallet will soon be full and nicely hand stacked and ready to go. Then once it's ready, just drop the pallet off, put a new one down, a new one on, and away we go again. So things have really evolved, things have really changed, and we'll take a little look now. We'll go into sort of the next stage of harvester before we go and have a look at the modern day machines. Well, I personally find those old machines fascinating and absolutely pioneering at the time. Now, back when I started lifting turf as a greenkeeper, yes, these machines were out in the fields harvesting turf, but we sometimes grew our own, and we'd be lifting it sort of with a half moon and a spade, sort of a flat-ended spade with a crooked neck on. Those that will know it's the right tool for the job. And we used to slide that underneath, And even if we're cutting long areas, rather than use a half moon, we used to have like a hockey stick with a like round disc in it. So we used to push that along, slice the turf, then slice underneath it. And we'd do that just for sort of patching up bits and pieces really, but it's not the way forward. It's much easier to pick up the phone, order it, and have it ready, the right thickness, right quality and everything else. So, but that's how we used to do it. So obviously these old machines were the pioneers at the beginning. So then we moved on to the first sort of dedicated sort of auto stacking type machines, you know, one-man operation. As you can see, still tractor mounted. I've gone to a sort of a more modern day John Deere here. So that'll have air conditioning, have a good radio, and the guys will have all the comforts they want. You know, these old machines will still lift turf, but then old cars will still get you from A to B. But obviously technology, things have got quicker, things have got more comfortable. You know, cars these days will have things like heated seats in, sat nav, all these kind of things to help us get around day to day in a lot more comfort and a lot more ease. And just like these harvesters are becoming now, they're more quicker, they're more efficient, and a lot of turf gets harvested in the UK, and it's essential that we're able to do this obviously with maximum efficiency. So like I said earlier, the cutting heads have not really changed from the old days. They've still got the guide bars, same cutting system, chopping system. Same thing up the conveyor to the back, and pretty much like the modern machines really. I mean, this is a harvest stack. With this one here, you'll see the spikes will drop down, pick the turf up, transfer it onto the pallet. Now this machine, when the pallet's full, has to stop, drop the pallet, move on a bit before the next pallet. So it's not a constant motion machine like the modern day ones are. So we'll just have a little walk over now and we'll have a look at a more modern big roll harvester. So I've just come over to another shed now where we keep the two Magnum harvesters. So these are obviously the 21st century version of the big roll harvester we looked earlier, the older Brower there with the wraparound system. So that one there, it still works, you know, it still cuts turf, but this one is obviously a little more technologically advanced and cuts even bigger rolls than the big roll harvester that we just looked at. So fantastic piece of kit. So this one here is trailed, so the pickup hitch here, put it on the tractor, bit of tube storage at the top. See the one behind me already full. So principally it's the same. This one's undergoing some maintenance at the moment, hence the guards have been taken off, so it's being greased up, serviced, ready for. Got a very busy big roll time coming up, so we need to make sure the machine's all serviced and ready to go. So the mechanics are busy with that at the moment. So principally just the same as the smaller harvesters. Cutting deck down here, chop, up the conveyor. Now we'll just say, again, it requires a skilled operator, so we have all the control panels here. So there will be a personnel box and the operator will stand on here and he'll adjust all the depth thicknesses and everything else. So all done very accurately, very efficiently. Off the conveyor, it comes onto the system here where the tubes are dropped into. Very much similar principle to the old one. So the big guy up here, the lever, pull the lever here, release the roll. Turf rolled up, drops back onto the turntable. The ramps will already be down. Table will turn, tip the turf out down the ramp onto the field to be collected by the spike all the time for collection. Fantastic machine, super efficient, brilliant stuff. Come a little bit further now, and we've been looking at the harvesters, which I hope you found interesting. So we go back obviously to the old Brower there and the old hand stacking days, and now we're up to the stage here of the Trebro TSR. Now this is a single row harvester. We have 3 of these, and in between this we have had a double row harvester. Now because we're growing so many different products in so many different fields, it makes more sense for us to have more harvesters rather than just dedicating one machine to one field. So we have 3 of these out on the fleet at the moment, all quite new machines and super efficient, brilliant, continuous motion, unlike the harvest stack we looked at a short while ago, which sort of has to become stationary, drop the pallet, reload the new one and go again. All fantastic machines, like I say, they all cut turf, and the only thing that's really changed is not the principles but just the efficiency and speed of them. So just like all the others, it's the same thing here, it's the guide bar, it's the same cutting principles up the conveyor. spikes in just like the harvest stack, and over. So I suppose the biggest change of all is probably in the cab. So as we've seen on previous videos, and you might want to look back at those, is we have the cabs here now that tilt, and we'll have a little wander up. Don't know whether it's unlocked. It is. We'll pop in, have a quick look. So we've seen in previous videos here now, it's all about technology. So the whole machine is operated off the handle here. So all the forward motion, the lifting, all the adjustments, depth adjustments, width, everything's done from that panel there. So lots of experienced operators here have absolutely mastered that. We then have the screen here, which isn't on at the moment. And if you look at a previous video, you might see what's on it. That there is doing all the roll counting, all the pallet counting, order systems on an iPad that goes here. And so super efficient compared to the old days where the communication was through the back of the cab, basically. You know, yeah, that's your 40, that's your 50. Yeah, stop, change pallet. So things are completely different now. It's all smooth, efficient, fantastically controlled, and absolutely superb. So just to finish off then, just want to thank you all for watching. Hope you found that sort of nostalgic look, I guess, particularly if you're a turf grower, back at how the evolution of turf harvesters has sort of grown. So absolutely amazing stuff. As always, thanks for watching. Really appreciate your views. Please continue to like, to share, to retweet, and subscribe to Tillers Turf TV on YouTube if you haven't already. And enjoy some videos, and we look forward to another one next week. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Cheers for now.